Hello, you awesome friends. This is your pal, Edwards here speaking, and welcome back to another interview with Edward. And I just got to say a big thank you. You know, I'm really happy for a lot of reasons. Firstly, our show has taken off globally, being watched by thousands, and thank you for being one of them. And secondly, I've got one of my wonderful friends from Greater Boston, Massachusetts with us, who's an amazing leader. She's an RN, registered nurse. She's a holistic health and wellness coach. She's right into ice hockey. She's a podcaster. She lives on an amazing block of land, and we've got her to interview her to get her secrets. Joyce Strong, how are you doing today?
I am doing really well, Edward. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
It's an absolute honourable pleasure. And just for the sake of the audience, we're at two opposite ends of the planet. I'm in Sydney right now, and it's 10 p.m., so it's all dark. And what time is it in where you are right now?
It's 8 a.m. here, and I made my coffee. I went out for a brisk walk down the driveway, and then in the area that I cleared in my land since I've been quarantined. I actually saw a wild turkey walk right past my window this morning.
As in, like, you mean the bourbon? Is that what you mean? Like a
No, it wasn't the bourbon.
As in, like, the bird going past your window.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. That's terrible. You say wild turkey, I just think of bourbon. That's really bad, by the way. No, but I was going to say, in all seriousness, Joyce, it's an absolute honour to have you with us. I know you're a very busy lady, and I'd love to learn more about you and how do you add value to people's lives and what do you do?
Well, I'm a nurse, and when people ask me, are you still nursing because I'm not working in hospital, I'm like, well, yeah, I am. I'm still a nurse. I work as an educator and a coach. So I take my nursing skills that I've learned, all the stuff about anatomy and physiology and how the body works and disease systems and medications, but I've added on the whole layer of prevention, which is so timely right now for all what we're going through with the coronavirus and COVID-19, because what I do is help prevent people from getting sick and boost your immune system through healthy living. So dealing with things like obesity and diabetes and some of those comorbid conditions that put you more at risk. So, and I also help people with the mindset piece, because we often know what to do and we don't do it. So that space in between is really where I specialize in helping you to think positively and work on this small habits, the science of habits.
Absolutely. And again, you've been in the health industry for decades and decades, right? You're an absolute health pro,
over 30 years.
And you're a walking example of health. I was going to ask you, what is your take on Corona, and have you seen anything remotely like this in your decades of health and work like this?
I've never seen anything like this. This is, I'll be 67 in June, so I've never seen anything like this. I've never been quarantined like this. We went through measles and chickenpox as a kid and things like that, but nothing like this. But my take, I think the elephant in the room for me is there's all this stuff, wash your hands. Of course, we have to wash our hands, and we have to socially distance, wear a mask, do all those things. But the thing that we don't hear enough about is take care of your baseline health, because no one escapes this virus or other viruses. We're not going to. We're on this planet. And so taking care of your health is the number one thing, because your body is equipped to fight things like this if you keep it healthy. So this is really I'm a cancer survivor, Edward. So one of the reasons that launched me into healthcare was like realizing I wasn't taking care of my health as well as I needed to. Stress management, sleep, and good nutrition with whole food. So I really think that the big message I want to leave people with is take care of yourselves and give your body a fighting chance. Be a good, strong warrior. And this has been great for me. A lot of people have gained weight over the quarantine, and not me. I'm down. I'm at about 25% body fat now, which is normal for a woman my age. My weight is great. Yesterday I had 30,000 steps. So wow. I'm just lipping it. Yeah. I think I was born to be a farmer or something. I don't know. So we'll see what happens.
On a completely unrelated note, I watched this guy on YouTube. He's got millions of subscribers. He's called James Townsend and Sons, and he like fully dresses up in like the colonial frontier outfit. He does like 17th century American cooking. I don't know. I just imagine you in the colonial outfit with like, the oven baking bread and that sort of thing. I don't know. It just came to mind.
I can't believe you said that, because yesterday, and I'm going to send you a picture, a video later. I was going through trying to clean up the yard, and of course, I have 5 kids, right? 2 still living at home, but 5 children, 4 boys. And we had an old lacrosse net that was all like mangled, and the net was all torn. So I cut the net off, and I was going to haul it down to the end of the driveway for somebody to take. And all of a sudden I looked at it and I said, that's a frame for a cooking pot. Because our burn season is over, and we were allowed to burn debris, right, for a while. That's over. Now you can only have a fire for cooking. So I took the lacrosse net and fashioned it over the fire pit, so that I could cook. And I'm going to get one of those cast iron pots.
I know exactly what you mean. So you got to dress up in the colonial outfit to keep it all moving. You have to do that. So, and I'm going to say, you threw out some amazing nuggets of gold that I'd love to go into. Now, firstly, again, we've spoken a lot off camera about this, but you're a cancer survivor. If you don't mind me sort of digging there, when did you get cancer and how did you beat it?
Well, I got breast cancer when I was just before I turned 50. And I had 5 kids at home then, a single parent, 5 kids at home. And so I ended up having chemotherapy and bilateral mastectomy and reconstruction. That was a whole adventure. And at the time I live in Massachusetts. I had to go to New York to get done what I needed to have done, because a whole nother story. But anyway, I beat it just by keeping one foot in front of the other. That's when I became a hockey coach and learned to play ice hockey and became a hockey coach. I just thought there's something I have to do before I die. And I had that sense of, I can't die. I have to shovel the driveway. I have to carry the kids. I have to get the groceries. And I just refused to lose. But I paid attention to my health. I got rid of all the processed food, or most of it. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't a straight line. I zigged and zagged a bit, but eventually really moved away from the things that I think blocked my body from fighting the disease. So I never feel like I cured cancer. I just feel like I gave my body a fighting chance and made it as strong a warrior as it could be. So why we get cancer, it's probably a combination of things, less about genetics, more really about your lifestyle. So I think my lifestyle was full of stress. I had gone through divorce. I had financial issues, raising 5 kids. So
wow.
All good now.
You cannot be killed, obviously. So you're immortal, right? So Joyce Strong cannot be killed, right? You're immortal. So, and that what you just said about strengthening yourself obviously takes us right into the corona conversation. And I'm in Australia, tell by the accent, I'm in Sydney, Australia. And our government has actually a little bit dipped into that, talking about now's the time to maximise your health. In Australia, we're allowed to go out for exercise. So the government has said, please be safe, but please, if you can, you're welcome to go outside for exercise. So the government has actually said that to us. And I was going to ask you, what's your advice to people right now to best strengthen themselves to protect themselves against corona or any secondary illnesses that might come about in these times?
Well, definitely sleep. Get your 8 hours of sleep, 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Hydration is very important. This is a respiratory illness. It's being well hydrated. Whole food nutrition, lower your sugar and carbohydrates, processed carbohydrates. I still eat lots of carbohydrates, but they're called vegetables, and corn is not a vegetable. It's a grain.
So corn is not a vegetable. I didn't know that.
Peas are legumes. They're not a vegetable. But anyway, eat lots of whole food, get adequate protein in, and then move. Here's a really important thing that I'm figuring out, because like I said, since I've been home quarantined, my metabolism has really ramped up. And what I think the difference is, I used to go to Orange Theory and work out 1 good hour a day. And now I'm working out all day, not as intensely, but I'm on my feet moving all day long. And so it's really, when you think of all the hours in the day, if you do 10 push-ups in 1 hour, and next hour you do a set of stairs. Or I've been pushing the wheelbarrow up the hill with piles of broken limbs or dirt or rocks or things like that. So, and I just think of it now as part of my exercise. Picking up rocks and stems off the ground is my stretching, and doing the dishes. So try to build it into your, instead of resenting the things you have to do, build into your your routine, your chores, moving all day long. And I use Fitbit for that because I have no affiliation with them, but I use the tracking on it. So every hour it triggers me to do at least 250 steps. So I try not to sit too much. So those are really the important things. And I also wanted to remember to talk to you. I don't know if you were planning to ask me afterward about the impact that Corona has had on my mental status.
No, please. No, I'm fascinated. I'd love to hear how it's, and what I appreciate about you, Joyce, is you are raw, real, and authentic. I'd love to hear your real, raw effects about how it's hit you and how you've responded to it. We'd love to hear that.
So just for our listeners know, Edward and I have had a relationship. Edward has been my coach, and he has been helping me become a master persuader and influencer. And he's wonderful, an amazing coach. And I've gotten into a really good routine and taken a lot of the tips and things I've learned from Edward. And he's been such a great support for me. So I was on a really organized, getting up, doing certain things day after day after day, doing 4 podcasts in a day, and very busy, filling my calendar. And once maybe 2-3 weeks into the quarantine, I just started to feel my schedule got a little bit lighter, and then I stopped booking people, and I by choice, and I kind of unplugged from social media, and I started spending more and more time outside and alone with my thoughts. And I was like, maybe there's something here for me. Maybe there's some silver linings. Maybe I need to use this time to think. And that's really what's been happening for me. And at first it scared me because I thought I was depressed and I wasn't sure what it was. And then I was like, woman, I don't think you've had a vacation in 30 years.
Wow.
This is a vacation. This is what it feels like when you unplug. It just was so foreign to me because I'm such a grinder. So I really want to encourage people to not be scared. It is weird. It's really weird what we're going through. Like I said, I've never seen anything like it, but my yard looks great. My body is amazing. I'm so strong and I look good and I'm fitting in my clothes and I feel strong and new things are coming. It's just in that rebirth kind of stage. So I just wanted to share that with people, how scared I was at first about this feeling and not wanting to answer every message. And I just wanted to break the pattern a little bit, not because I didn't like it, but I just needed a shift, a change.
And I couldn't agree with you more. And I think I love your rawness here, Joyce, because I tell you what, it's been a massive change to the world. And actually, on an interesting note, earlier on today, I actually interviewed one of our friends from LinkedIn. Right? It's one of the friends I work with in LinkedIn, Sydney, great guy by the name of Neil Isdale. And we actually spoke about this topic. And what was very interesting about it is, as an example, he was telling me, and a few other people were saying the same thing about how you can go on a peak hour train these days and no one's on the train. The whole landscape has changed. And what we're seeing now is that even if Corona ended completely in the next hour, right? People aren't going back to the way it was. The world has been permanently changed. And I think whilst, and with maximum respect to health workers such as yourself and people who've suffered fallout from Corona, there's definitely an upside to this whole situation, isn't there, Joyce?
Yeah, I definitely don't want to go back to the way it was. I want a lot of what I was doing, but I want it in a different frame. I really am a homebody and love working from home. I'm very practical. The idea of having to drive someplace to meet when we can meet like this, I can't drive to Sydney. So being able to have you as a coach and a friend is amazing. I have probably more friends in Australia now than I do in the United States. and it feels so good because I'm not much of a traveler, so I'm able to travel, and I've got people on board with me. Clients are willing to meet with me this way now. I'm more effective because they've bought into it. I don't feel like they're afraid of using Zoom. Or other ways that we communicate electronically. So I think the term I heard is the genie's out of the bottle, and we're not
Yeah.
putting them back.
Yeah, because it's funny actually, and just completely doubling down in the direction of what you're saying is, as you know, I used to run a lot of face-to-face meetups pre-Corona, and
Yes.
when originally Corona came out, and then Meetup said use Zoom for your networking events using the Zoom platform, I was very skeptical. I was like, arms folded, bah humbug, it's not going to work. And ironically, the other week, I then did a webinar telling everyone to use Zoom and do networking events, right? So I went from critic to advocate, proselytizing it in the space of like 3 or 4 weeks. And I think you're right. I love how you framed it in terms of the genie's out of the bottle. This permanent change to our working culture is fascinating. I'll use an example. One of my friends and old clients, actually, great guy. And long story short, runs a very successful sort of 20 to 30 staff, 30 head IT company in Sydney. And they're all now working from home. And his commercial lease finished. That's it. He says, we're not getting an office again. We're just going to save all the money and work more efficiently. And at the end of the day, why should you drive an hour or two in traffic every day if you don't need to?
Right. Yeah, a lot of businesses are changing. Same thing with me. My lease just ended, and I've got to go collect my patient folders and computer and get out of there. At one point, I was spending $6,000 US dollars a month on brick and mortar.
6,000 US a month.
Yes.
So you're just working for the landlord.
I'm sorry, say again?
We have a term for that in Australia. We say you're working for the landlord.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And so, and these are things that were kind of put on me because of the way the business was structured. And I never saw it that way, but I was like, well, if I want to play, I got to follow these rules. So, and the same thing too with medical. Now you can go to the doctor like this and get a lot of things, because I've got a sick baby at home. Why should I have to bring the baby in if I can explain the symptoms? I mean, I'm a nurse, and and so much can get done this way. Not everything, but a lot of and then preventing the spread of all sorts of infectious diseases, not just corona. So I'm really happy to see the change in telehealth and telemedicine and telecoaching.
Yeah, and I think it's great. And the thing that's fascinated me, and as you know, I'm quite active in local politics in Australia, right? And I get quite involved, and I get a lot of inside knowledge. And the thing that is really happening is how the world is, again, you framed it well, the genie's out of the bottle, the world's not going back to the way it was. Yeah. Where do you think things, again, you're a very smart lady, Joyce, and you've seen many cycles over the years, plus you know what's going on. How do you think the world is going to be different coming out of Corona?
In what respect? In any
in
particular?
Terms of, I'll frame it in terms of how will people treat their health differently coming out of Corona?
Well, I'm concerned. I really don't know the answer to that. I listened to a really good podcast with a congressman and James Altucher yesterday that was talking about this, and I don't know if we learn from history. People. I'm worried because I think it really has to be in our country, in the U.S. It's really big food, big pharma, in the government, or it's this triangle I see that has us locked in because everybody's making money, and so we can't afford to be diabetic. We can't afford to be sick. Because look what happens. We don't have the medical resources. And this whole thing about social responsibility as far as wearing a mask, I feel the same way about food. If you don't eat healthy, Edward, it affects my health because you suck up the resources.
Yeah.
So that I feel like it's a social responsibility of mine to take care of myself for my family. So I take care of customer number one, myself. And I'm now able to, put the oxygen mask on first and take care of other people. So I want all of the the government to be able to see that. The problem is it's the government, and it's people making money in pharmaceuticals and big food. So all, what flew off the shelf first, all the junk food, plenty of lettuce and broccoli left. So no toilet paper, but we got lots of broccoli. So
it's funny you say this, and again, we're Australia. We love America. We love the United States. It's funny, even though we're similar, we do have some differences, because our government, for example, has actually puts ads on TV encouraging you to live healthily and lose weight. Our government will actually put ads on TV saying you need to lose weight and do this, right? Because the thing that's interesting in Australia, and I always say this to wonderful friends like yourself in the United States, political correctness is not very big in Australia. It never was, right? So in a way, the whole political correctness, like you can't say this, you can't do that. Yeah. In a way, that doesn't work with Australian culture. Australian culture, in a way, is the antithesis of political correctness. The two just don't work together, right? Political correctness never really took off in Australia like it would do here. So the government will quite openly put an ad on TV saying, you need to lose weight, stop putting on weight. They'll do that in Australia.
Yeah. Well, I wish they'd do it here, because they'll say, wash your hands, wear a mask. They have ads about that, but they don't say, if you're diabetic. And so that podcast I was referring to, they were saying how poor people are poor. They're on social, on Medicare and Medicaid, and they're getting subsidized lunches at school. And what are they giving them? Rice Krispie treats and chocolate milk, or stuff very high in sugar. So these kids grow up now to be diabetic and become a burden on the healthcare system, and they don't understand what, they're not getting the knowledge, the training, because they don't teach this in school. Wow. So will we learn a lesson? I just don't know. I think the government really has to get involved, and industries have to get involved and see how they can make money doing it. So it's hard for me to make a living. I'll tell you, as a coach and as a registered nurse, with all my knowledge and all my training, it's really, why do you think I want to become a master persuader and influencer? Because I have to market myself. And it's an enigma to me of, I'm the one that's going to help you get through this challenge, because I'm going to help you be a strong warrior and fight the virus, whether you get it or, if you get it, you'll live, most likely, and help all of us be stronger, not just for the virus, but in general, chronic disease in general. I'm going to help decrease the burden on the healthcare system and make us be able to afford healthcare. And yet nobody wants to hire me. The government doesn't want to get involved. They don't pay for my services. People they have to pay out of pocket. So they pay for insurance for their disease care, and they don't have money left over to pay for me to prevent the disease.
Got it. And I suppose it comes back to the key point exactly said, becoming a master persuader and influencer is, again, it's the challenge for us is, how do we stand out in our own rights to attract people to us that have what we have? And I use LinkedIn as an example. As you know, I'm a huge LinkedIn buff. And again, talking to Neil from LinkedIn today, what I love about LinkedIn is and this is basically their mission, is connecting everyone globally to opportunity. And I got to say, talking you on LinkedIn, you've really shone on LinkedIn. Like, you've put out great interviews, great content, and you've got a lot of followers and people that love you. How has the LinkedIn journey been for you over the past 6 months?
I had been on LinkedIn for a lot of years, but it changed. And when I met you, it really changed a lot for me, because I started to notice it, but you pointed some things out to me. And just with a few tips, just with authentic engagement, actually, meeting the people, reaching out, doing more video messaging, writing to people and inviting them onto my podcast so we can have an exchange like this and I can get to know them. I've made some really great friends, supporters, unbelievable people who are quite famous in their own right, who do what they do, have given me their time and talked to me about what they do to help educate me, using my platform to help share their message. Unbelievable opportunities there. So I was even featured in one of the LinkedIn pieces. They saw that I was a nurse looking for work. to do remote, and they wanted to do exactly what you said, connect me and other people with, globally. So it's opened my world up in an unbelievable way. I don't know where I'd be without LinkedIn right now.
Oh, I think we'd all be cactus, right? Without LinkedIn, I'd be 2 feet underground right now, quite easily, right? And I
Yeah.
would say it's been incredible. And what I was going to ask you, Joyce, I mean, you've done an amazing job with everything you're doing. What is your advice to all of our viewers and beautiful fans across the world? What's your best advice to people right now to not only survive, but thrive during and coming out of Corona?
Oh, well, as I said, the basic stuff, take care of your health, sleep, hydration, proper nutrition, whole food nutrition, move your body, right? Meditation, unplug, walk, and do the spiritual piece as well. And then beyond that, look for the silver lining. There are things right in front of you that you're going to walk by every day and not notice, like that wild turkey or the dragon. I don't know if you saw
The
my post
bird.
with the dragon in my but there are opportunities right in front of us. And instead of focusing on, oh, I lost my speaking engagement or whatever the thing is that you were doing. I had classes I was teaching live in the hospital. It took years for me to finally set this up. I got 8 classes set up, and then this hit and all my classes got canceled. So now how else can I teach? It's just a different question. Yeah, I didn't really, the money didn't go away. It just moved. It's just, I don't know if you remember that book, Who Moved My Cheese? But basically it's the money just got moved around a little bit, and something better is out there. And that's, that what I talked to you about earlier, where I was kind of worried, maybe I'm getting depressed. Why don't I want to talk to anybody suddenly? I think my body is just, I'm listening to my body. It just wants to move. It wants to be quiet. It wants to just think and be creative. And it can't be creative when I'm in the amygdala, when I'm in the fight or flight. So I think my body just knows it needs to calm down, relax, and just let the ideas come in.
So,
So
it's okay to relax. If you're a workaholic like Joyce Strong or Edwards here, it's okay to unplug and relax, is what you're saying.
yeah, don't run away. We still want you. I still want to be in the game, but I think it's a good place to be if you find yourself doing things you never did before, like me, actually taking some time off and enjoying it.
Oh, beautifully well said, Joyce. And I got to say, you're doing an amazing job. And I was going to ask you, where to from here? What secrets have you got cooking up? What can you share with our beautiful viewers across the world?
Well, I'm still doing my podcast, so Rock Bottom Syndicate, and doing the Totally Well show, where I talk with wellness experts around the world. Rock Bottom Syndicate is stories of when people hit rock bottom, like we have as a culture, as a world, and recover. So I love to talk to people about their stories. I also have a membership site through Teachable, which is another great platform. And so you can sign up for seeing all my content and classes, things I teach, daily tips, and get coaching by email or video, and different ways that we do that coaching. I do more intensive one-on-one coaching. So if you want to work more intensively and you're really ready to make a change, because I only take a few people for the one-on-one coaching, and when they're really ready to make a change, then we can dig deep. Because the way coaching works is we go fast and we go deep, because people are ready. And then I do webinars as well. So those are more educational, a lot of collaboration on webinars and teaching. So those are the things I'm up to. You can find all that at totalwellcoach.com. Everything links from there.
Got it. So just so I get it, so people can get in contact with you, totalwellcoach.com.
Yes. Yeah.
And of course as well, how else can people get in contact with you?
Well, LinkedIn, I'm Joyce Strong on LinkedIn, JoyceStrong, Strong Joyous Life, I like to say. And Facebook, on Instagram, TikTok,
You're on TikTok. I'm impressed.
A little bit. I've been talking with Tim Bean about getting more active on TikTok, but yeah, I love new media. I love new platforms. I'm always looking for fun ways to connect. So.
I'm too much of a LinkedIn institutional man. It's sort of like TikTok that my Australian Middle Eastern brain can't handle the data of TikTok, so I decided just to stay out of it. So good for you, power to you, power to you. My brain can't interpret TikTok at all; it just doesn't work.
Well, LinkedIn is definitely my main platform for sure. That's where I spend the most time and communicate a lot with people. I hadn't in the past, but this past year it's taken off for me, and it's just been a very, very good way for me to connect. So that's a surefire way to get me. But through my website, you'll see all those connection points as well.
Oh, Joyce, I got to say it's incredible. And just before we finish up this incredible interview, what is your big closing thought for all of our wonderful fans across the world?
Oh gosh, a big closing thought. I'm going to come back to what I've been saying throughout my theme is really take care of yourself first. I make a list every day on my little notebook. It's real. See, I actually do it. And I say,
is that called paper?
It's paper. Yeah.
Yeah, paper's like it's from wood or something, isn't it? And
yeah, I actually write with a pen. Yeah.
It's sort of like this, but paper, right? It's like the paper version. Okay, got it. It's this stuff called paper. Gotcha. Yeah.
Nice. And I remind that I'm loved. So I love myself. And then I express my gratitudes. So I say I am grateful, particularly for my health, because that's the foundation of me being able to do everything. I remind myself to ask for help. So the day I reached out to Edward Zia was one of the best days of my life because he's helped me so much. And then I say, I used to have this in another order. I say, take care of your number one customer. I learned that from John Hanson. He's a customer experience expert on LinkedIn. And but take care of your number one customer, who is yourself, or number one patient in my case. And then helping others, reaching out and see how I can solve problems for other people and help other people, be of service for other people. And the next thing on my list was talk to Edwards. Yeah.
It's awesome. And I just got to say, it's incredible. And it's very obvious that you are driven by gratitude, hence why you're so healthy and successful.
Yeah, I'm so grateful. I'm so lucky. I'm so wealthy. I have everything I need. And I just want to share with other people. So I hope the same for everybody. Everybody stay safe and stay aware and alert to opportunities, because there are plenty. This is a wonderful time, a strange time, but a wonderful time for all of us. There are problems to be dealt with, but look at the hierarchy of needs and think about what people need the most right now. They need food, they need shelter, they need connection, all the things that people need. You were born to provide it, like I am, like you are, Edward. And so I'm here to meet your needs and help solve some problems.
Oh, Joyce, and your generosity is amazing. And friends, again, if you've been watching across the world, Joyce Strong is an amazing leader. So make sure you check out our website, totalwellcoach.com.
Yeah.
And as well, hit up Joyce on Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn, and even TikTok.
Right. Well, thank you, Edward, for having me on your show today. I really I always enjoy chatting with you and hanging out with you, and I appreciate all you do for me. So thank you so much.